Welcome back, everybody. This is Leslie with Art, Ladle, and Spade. It's happening. The weather is gorgeous today, as usual, and I'm going to go ahead and start working on the paver pad area, the flagstone pad area for the garbage cans. It rained last night, and luckily I thought to cover it with that area with a tarp because I knew it was going to be a muddy mess if I didn't. And I am going to may have to actually add some dirt back because when I initially started thinking about this, I was going to be using paver gravel. However, my husband was looking on the lookout for me and he found some paver base on Facebook Marketplace for $40 for the box. Well, I negotiated $40 for the box. It's a box of 20, and typically that goes for about $90 to $100. So we'll be using paver base. I'm going to be using flagstone. I continue on my mission to gather flagstone from Facebook Marketplace. I have a person that I'm buying from, and she's willing to hold off on posting the rest of it until I see whether or not I need some more. So I will show you my trunk. This will be, I got 4 loads of flagstone from her house, including a truckload from my sweet husband who accompanied me to go over there the second time. And on Friday and Saturday, I collected 2 more loads. So I have a lot of flagstone out here. I'm going to show you what's been going on in my rock gardens. I have 2 completely built rock gardens now. I will say I'm still moving around stones and such, just depending on how I like the placement of it. And the second rock garden was a little bit harder to place the rocks because the rock shapes were very different than my first rock garden, but it's still coming together and it's a bit higher than my first rock garden. And I'm going to show you what's going on in my sunroom. Again, there is nothing left down in the grow light space. And I have been watering my seedlings and they're getting big. I watched Hooked and Rooted with Stephanie, and she stated that I needed to pinch the top of my zinnias at some point so that they bush out. The zinnias that she pinched in her videos were their stem was much thicker than mine. So I don't know, but they look healthy. I'm going to show you my sweet pea, a little stringy, but they're getting long, and all of my other plants are doing well. I have lost a couple over the past couple of days, and I will say that's probably just because I forgot to water them, or there were 2 trays that actually left water in the trays. I try to make sure that I go back through after soaking my plants and empty out all of the trays, and I think I forgot 2 or 3 of them. They're fine though, so luckily that's okay. I am still having an issue with the gnats. I did use the spray, the mosquito spray, and I put the solution together as directed for the gnats, and maybe it helped a little bit, but we're still seeing gnats in the house. I just treated some pots that my husband had put out for his red hot pokers. I think that's what those are. And anyway, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you all of my seedlings still in the sunroom. And then we're going to go outside on my table on the back patio. I'm going to show you everything that's out there. I'm going to walk you around the rock gardens, and then I'm going to show you the space that I'm going to be working on today. My goal is to finish it today. So stay tuned. Okay, you are looking at my zinnias. And I think there's a couple of others in here, so you have to bear with me. But I have my zinnias in here. I have these are my black-eyed Susan. And these are my Blazing Star from seed. So we will compare Blazing Star from seed versus the Blazing Star from bulbs that are outside. The Blazing Star from bulbs are huge. These are my coneflower. They're still doing well, and not all of the pods sprouted initially, so I haven't lost any of my coneflower. So these are still there. I guess they're slow growers. These are my lupin, and right here are my bachelor button. Now I will say I may have mixed a couple of these off during the watering process, but for the most part, they're in the right spaces, and I have name cards in them. And you're staring at my coral bells. These are more black-eyed Susan. No, these are blanket flower. These are my blanket flower. Here are more zinnias down here. This is my foxglove. I wasn't sure the foxglove was gonna do well, but it seems to be doing well. And we're gonna pop over to my other table. So this is the creeping thyme that I thinned and massacred. It's still hanging on, but I decided to leave the rest of the creeping thyme alone and not try to thin that out. Lesson learned, not to put 9.6 million seeds per pod. So I have definitely learned my lessons for next year. These vines here, you are staring at my sweet pea. So there's sweet pea in there, and there's also bachelor button in this tray here. And more zinnia and more sweet pea, and I think there's a sweet William in there somewhere. And then this is my more blanket flower and also some more sweet pea in the back. And I think this is a bachelor button. Nope, this is a blanket flower. Blanket flower. Here are my red ice. This is the red ice that I did not thin, because when I thinned my orange ice, I killed most of it. So I have decided to leave my orange ice alone and leave my red ice alone, and hopefully they will make it to be strong enough to go out in the garden, but I will not be thinning these. They do not like root disturbance. So I am also taking a lot of notes for next year, next growing season, because this is definitely one that I want to be able to grow in my yard, and it just did not like the root disturbance, so I'm going to leave it alone. And also, if you remember from previous videos, red ice and orange ice plant, any type of ice plant, they're succulents, so they do not like a lot of water. So these did not get watered today. And it's kind of hard to tell, like you have to wait till the soil is completely dry before you water them, and they seem to be doing well. But again, these were ones that I put a lot of seeds in each pod, and because I wasn't sure they were going to make it, and they did. And they were just overcrowded at this point, but they're still surviving. Here are my tick seed here. And my columbine, I had a couple of columbine that finally came up. I believe there's only 2 or 3 cups of columbine. And my heirloom yarrow here, and my creeping phlox in the back. Here are more zinnias. This is my tray of blanket flower. It's crazy just to see how this is going. And this here, sweet William in the back, and there's 2 zinnia here. And my heirloom yarrow, again, need to be thin. I'm not doing it. All right, here's my creeping thyme tray. Again, a lot of those missing pods are the ones that I tried to thin and they didn't make it. So I'm leaving my creeping thyme alone, and we'll see what happens once they get big enough to go outside. This is my alyssum. My alyssum is all doing well. I was mindful about how I planted the alyssum, so I only put 1 or 2 seeds per pod, and they're doing well, and I don't have to thin. So it looks like they're gonna make it. Here are my Gara flower. Gara flower just didn't do well for me. These are 4 pods. Then they were seeds in every pod and only 4 sprouted. Well, I will say maybe 5 sprouted and I've lost 1. So there are only 5 pods left of Gara flower. And this is my ajuga here, right here, and then my lavender here. Lavender and ajuga did not do well for me, so I will not be doing it again. I'm going to take you outside to my rock gardens. Okay, so now you are staring at my first rock garden. I stated before that this is going to be my holding space for a lot of my plants, and I changed my mind because it became very overwhelming and crowded and confusing. So right here is the sedum. Most of the sedum in my yard is going to stay right here in this area. I'm not sure what these are. I don't know if these are lilies. They're not irises. They're either lilies or something else that my husband has in the front yard. In my hostas, these plants will be moved once I have the other garden bed created. These are my hellebores, and some of them didn't do well. A lot of the individual transplants are from my neighbor. She brought some over, and I moved them twice in the flower bed, and we'll see. I'm going to leave them alone and see how they do. So you're also looking at my dwarf Colorado Picea. So this is my centerpiece for this island. So she will stay right where she is, and I absolutely am obsessed with her. So in the front here, you have my creeping thyme. The creeping thyme will actually be planted to one of the flower beds once I finish. But this creeping thyme, as you see, you've got weeds growing in here. But this creeping thyme has been in this pot for probably, I would say this is going on its 3rd year. And every year I think it's dead and it comes right back. So this is creeping thyme, and it was in the pots, and the pots were decorating my islands that were out in the yard that I had to get rid of. And so these are still doing really well. And I'm going to listen to this to make sure you can't hear the lawnmower in the background. So these are my 2 muhly grasses from Pike, and these were on the clearance section, and I went ahead and grabbed these up. I said I wasn't going to buy any perennials, and I lied. So I bought these 2 perennials, and they seem to be doing well. So I'm going to show you my favorite 2 planters that I've created. This is a creeping fig, and then I have added some, these are annuals that are next to the creeping fig. The creeping fig, however, this is a perennial, and it's either full or partial sun. And I have 2 of them. There's the other one over here. So these are going to be at the entrance of these 2 rock garden beds once I finish. They're pretty much in the place they're going to be, but this is going to look much nicer once all the flagstone is down. So now you are looking at my 2nd rock garden, and I put some creeping phlox here in the at the front, and this is my wormwood. I believe this is the correct name. This is the one that I went back to Pikes to see if they had more, and they only had 1 more, so I went ahead and put it in here. And I did get some Gara flower. So this is the Gara flower that I purchased from Pike. I love it, and I wasn't able to grow it very well. Well, I'm giving up on it too easy, but I wanted Gara flower in here, so I went ahead and got 2 of them. So here's a flower pot of sedum. This is one of my dad's old flower pots, and it's been going with me for a while now. So this is probably the 3rd species of sedum that has been in here. And this is called a Shilipo Unimus. I have 2 Unimus low-growing plants in the front yard, and so this is another version of it. This is an evergreen, and I decided to go ahead and get this because it's pretty. So this is creeping phlox, but this is just here until I can get it in the front yard. There's a flower bed that I've been working in, and once I started moving the dirt around, there were a million ants in there. So right now I'm treating it for ants so that I can get in there and work without getting bitten. If you've ever been bit by red ants, it is horrible. It's a bite that goes on forever. It's a gift that keeps on giving, and it brings me anxiety, actually. So I hate working with ants. They're not fun. These are my calla lilies that were from the area along the fence that had to be dug up because of the garage and what was happening over there on that side, and all of this seems to be doing well. This is the centerpiece of this island here. And I can't remember if I showed her in my previous video, but she is called a Picea omorica pendula, and she is also in my front yard. I love these funky looking evergreens or conifers, and I decided to get another one for this area. This here I had to dig up from my front yard, and this is from the area that had the ants in it. It doesn't seem to like it where it is, so I'm going to use this in one of my islands that I'm going to create along the fence over here. Where that buggy is going to be the beginning of another island. So I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to walk over here. These are 2 of the this is another evergreen that I'm going to put in the island where I just dug up the smaller one. So that will be there, and I'm going to put a bunch of perennials in that flower bed in the front yard. So these are my cast iron. Cast iron was also along the fence. I dug that up, and this will go on the backdrop of the island that has the pendula that I just showed you. And it's very resilient. This was in the garage all winter, and then I had it out here in the sun with no soil, and I finally decided to put some soil in there. All right, I'm going to take you over to my table. So now you are staring at my table. These are my Blazing Star from bulb, and they're huge. And this is only 8 of them here, and I have 4 of them back here. And then you are also looking at Macrocosmia. And here's my Astilbe here, and my hostas here. Now these smaller hostas here, I believe these are the ones that I got from Home Depot. They just did not do well, and it was pretty consistent with those bare roots that I received. They just didn't do well. These blue hostas are the ones that I purchased from Home Depot, and they're very happy, and they're very thick. These are the Muhly grass plugs that I got off of Amazon, and those seem to be doing well as well. And on the ground are all of my other hostas that were dug up along the fence. And there's a couple of other plants in here, and again, I'm not sure what they are, but they're happy. I dug those up and I went ahead and potted those, and this is the holding area for the hostas that are going to go along the fence that I showed you, where the green buggy is. These are my hyacinth and my Dutch iris from bulb. These are the ones that were in the refrigerator, and I've got 1 Dutch iris coming up, and then I've got a lot of my hyacinth that are peeking through, so I think these are going to be okay. These are the 2 hydrangeas that I dug up from my first rock garden island in the backyard. They just didn't do well. We had a freeze and they didn't make it. So I'm going to keep them here in these pots for a couple more weeks to see if I can get them back. But if not, then it's a loss, unfortunately. This is my 4 o'clock that did not do well. And I'm not sure, it was the freeze again. It just didn't make it. And I think it's the combination between the freezes and then having to move them. I think it was too much. So I stressed it out, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one here in the pot, and maybe it'll come back, but maybe not, but I'm not ready to throw it away yet. All right, this is it. All right, so now you're looking at the pit, and we'll see how this goes. This is my box of Paver base here, and I'm gonna go back through, and I may have to add a little bit of dirt, but not that much. And here's all my flagstone. Now this is the flagstone for the path here, and there's the flagstone down there, or the flagstone that I'm going to put here. And I have some very large pieces in my trunk that I'm going to pull out once I get this level into the height that I want it, and then we'll go from there. So I'll pop back in once I get this all leveled out, so you can kind of see the process. But I guess I could set up my tripod out here. I might think about that. We'll see. I'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day is humble, Humble. I have been humbled by this experience. This is kicking my behind, and I want to quit. So after all that digging I did, busted up my hand, ruined countless numbers of shoes, I am now putting dirt back in this pit. That's how I feel right now. Because I have to raise it up. So I went ahead and did a little trial area just to see what I was going to have to do, how high up I was going to have to raise this. And so I went ahead and put down dirt. Look, I emptied a bag of soil underneath there because I was like, we're not doing this. So anyway, emptied a bag of soil underneath those 2 Paver bases, and tamped it down, and then added my sand, and then put my flagstone on top of it. I want pretty thick flagstone right here, since the garbage cans will be going on top of it, and it's going to extend over to this walkway right here. And yeah, so I have now had 2 cartfuls of dirt dumped back in here, and I probably have to do another cart or 2 to get it back up to where I can tamp it down, and then put a 1/2 inch base of sand down. So this is a lot of work. This is kicking my ever-loving behind. And I don't envy anyone who does this for a living. First of all, it takes an incredible amount of skill to get this to where it can look nice. Maybe not maybe I'm not gonna go that far. It takes skill, a certain skill set, and a level of patience that I do not have. And I'm perfectly fine admitting that. However, I'm going to go ahead and get another cart full and dump it in here and pick through these roots. Not that I need to. Not that anybody's going to look underneath the paver base, right? Okay, never mind. I'm going to leave the roots in there. And I'm going to put another cart load of dirt in here. And I think it's going to be to the point where I can tamp it down and go ahead and add the sand. But I had to pop on here and just tell you that the word of the day is humble. I'm eating my humble pie. It's delicious. Okay, I'll be back. So my husband had mercy on me and came out here and helped me get the sand in here, and he's leveling it with the tamper. So as I said earlier, this has been a humbling experience. So we're almost there though. It's almost time for the paver pads, or paver base. Yeah, paver pads. And then we're gonna go ahead and take this flagstone all the way. There's probably gonna be like 8 inches between the fence and that beginning of the paver pad in the flagstone area, because there's concrete right there where the fence is. So I'll have to figure that out afterwards. I'll be back. Okay, we are outside looking at the new flagstone area, which also joins with the new sidewalk. And we've got the sand down, and we've also went ahead and put the paver base down. We went back and forth on whether or not to put the paver base down because it is going under flagstone, but then we went ahead and put it down and did a test. It just, you walked around on it and it felt more stable with the paver base. So I'm not sure how necessary it is since there is sand under there, but we went ahead and did it anyway because we had it. So I'm going to get up tomorrow at some point after I get my day started and come out here and move these around and get these where I want them. And I did go ahead and set down a border, and I think I might curve it a bit right here. And so it matches the curve of the rock garden, and I'll keep it on the this side of the light. I'll keep it on this side of the light to make sure that it just doesn't become a trip hazard or anything. But a lot of progress today, not looking at a big muddy hole anymore. So very happy about that, and grateful that my husband came out here and helped with this because my patience was running very thin. So we got a lot done today. Very, very happy with it. It looks really good. It's not, it's not ready, but it's giving us a good idea of what this is going to look like when you walk into the backyard. So thank you so much for watching. A lot happened over the weekend. Very excited about the continued progress. I'll go ahead and pan over to the garden area. So this is what it looks like so far in the back. And there will be a third island back there where that blue tarp is once the new fence is installed. And yeah, so this is going to just be some nice gradual changes. It's getting dark out here, and it is dark out here, and it's windy, and my battery's running low. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but I did want to get in here and show you what was done today. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone had a happy Easter, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much.